25 Bravo 40 Class 23002 Commander and SLC Instructors. I'm Staff Sergeant Bardes. Today's risk was low. In the event of extreme weather, hide. In the event of an active shooter, run. In the event that this briefing was over 10 minutes, cough. The decision briefing is unclassified. The information shared today is not, nor should not be withheld from any person, regardless of age, sexual orientation, nationality, or sports team affiliation. Current status: a shit ton of people have died with the current method, with more than 30% of these being civilians. You've seen these numbers, sir. I will not belabor the point. Next slide, please. To kill or not to kill? That is the question. O sweet life, how precious and fragile thou art, a treasure to be guarded with utmost care. For thy preservation lies in the very heart of all that is right and fair. Next slide, please. The law of war, also known as the international humanitarian law, is a set of rules and principles that govern the conduct of armed conflicts. It is designed to protect civilians and combatants who are no longer taking part in hostilities and to limit the effects of the armed conflict on people, both, and the environment. One of the key principles of the law of war is the principle of proportionality. This principle states that the potential harm of civilians caused by an attack must be weighed against the expected military advantage gained by the attack. In other words, an attack must be proportionate, meaning that the expected civilian harm must not be excessive in relation to the concrete and direct military advantage anticipated. Another key principle of the law of war is the principle of discrimination. This principle requires that combatants distinguish between civilian and military targets, and that they only attack targets. Civilian and civilian objects such as homes, schools, and places of worship must not be attacked. In practice, these principles are intended to limit the harm caused to civilians during armed conflicts and to ensure the civilians are not targeted intentionally or indiscriminately. By adhering to these principles, the military can help to minimize the risk of harm to innocent lives and to reduce the risk of backlash against the military. It is important to note that these principles are not absolute, and sometimes the military has to make difficult decisions. However, the military has the obligation to take all feasible precautions to spare the civilian population from the effect of the hostilities. Sir, the Army Technique publication includes specific instructions for protecting innocent civilians during military operations. This is important because the protection of civilians is a fundamental principle of international humanitarian law, and the Army has a responsibility to ensure that its actions do not cause unnecessary harm to civilians. Additionally, protecting civilians can help to maintain the support of the local population and reduce that risk of backlash against the military. Next slide, please. Sir, another consideration we saw in Operation Anaconda in Camp Atterbury, Indiana, is the effects of the providing shelter and sustenance for these displaced locals. In Field Manual 3-39.40, we cover the intermittent and resettlement operations. This includes the principles of humanity, dignity, and respect for the rights of the persons must be adhered to at all times. The use of force should be limited to the minimum necessary to accomplish the mission and to protect the U.S. forces. To address the underlying question, we dig a little bit deeper into our FMs. According to Field Manual 6-0, Command and Staff Organization and Operations, released less than a year ago, Close Air Support, CAS, is a critical component of the Joint Force Commanders, the JFC, ability to support group ground operations. It states that the JFC must establish clear procedures for requesting, controlling, and executing CAS in order to ensure that it is used efficiently and effectively. FM6 also emphasizes the importance of clear and concise communication between ground and air assets. The document notes the importance of close air support in providing firepower and firepower effects to the ground force commanders, and the importance of air-ground integration. Overall, FM6-0 stresses the importance of effective coordination and integration between the ground and air forces and the use of close air support, and the need for clear procedures and effective communication to ensure that CAS is used that supports the ground operation. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santania, The Life of Reason, 1905. Also, Mr. Collier, my high school social studies teacher, 1995. Eastern Alliance display of mission command principles failed in multiple ways. Eastern Alliance Commander Zia Loden did not show battlefield competence against the Northern Alliance. U.S. Ground Commander Major General Hagenbeck waited too long to bring in the air support. The mission orders to decisively and quickly crush the enemy was not initially achieved. Senator Gillibrand called for a clear plan for the withdrawal of American combat forces after we spent over $336 billion to fund the Afghan war. Sir, my recommendation for a COA is close air support. Referencing the Operation Anaconda, we learned that the ANA battlefield skills are shit, sir. Our primary mission is to eradicate ISIS and Taliban forces from our area of operations decisively and quickly. Benefits of CAS is we can operate at a safe distance, sir. Being able to operate at a safe distance, we can deliver precision-guided munitions, which increases the accuracy of the attack and reduces the risk of collateral damage. Secondly, aircraft can provide a wide range of capabilities such as reconnaissance, surveillance, and electronic warfare, which can enhance the overall effectiveness of the friendly forces, allowing us to operate in a decisive manner. Thirdly, aircraft can provide a quicker response time than ground-based forces, as they can cover large distance quickly and engage targets within minutes of receiving the request for support. This can be especially important in fast-moving or fluid situations, where ground forces may not be able to respond quickly enough. Vietnamization is a term that illustrates a poorly military approach used in the Vietnam War. It referred to the strategy of transferring the responsibility of fighting the war from the United States military to the South Vietnam's government. It can also be seen in Operation Anaconda and Operation Enduring Freedom. Despite significant resources and training provided by the U.S., Vietnamese, Eastern Alliance, and Pashtun tribes, COA 2 carries a high operational risk. In summary, killing non-combatants is bad. Killing innocent children will disappoint your mom. And everything included in ATP 3-076 about protection of civilians. Proportionality is the potential harm to civilians caused by an attack must be weighed against the expected military advantage gained by that attack. Discrimination requires that combatants distinguish between civilian and military targets and that they only attack military targets. Making it even a little simpler, proportionality. Only blow up sites that aid in the enemy factions. Discrimination. Only target enemy harboring and or supporting sites. Additional consideration. Those dislocated civilians may seek security, shelter, and sustainment from Army units. Minimizing operation risk, sir, I recommend COA 1. Coordinate CAS with our United States Air Force. Thank you, Class 25 Bravo 40 SLC 23002 for your attention, Commander for your consideration, Slide Chef for this template, and for the instructors for sharpening our briefing skills. If you have any questions, you are released to our class leader, Staff Sergeant Agee.